and replacing the soccer field, which was all displaced by the interim housing and construction. So we're essentially making the campus finally whole in its original configuration with the newer facilities. And that's what that configuration is. A little bit of a different diagram. This is the building itself, which is approximately 8,000 square feet. The linked learning buildings are the ones in the upper right dog leg, if you will, of the campus. In here is essentially going to be a medical academy as well as the law academy of the linked learning environment for the campus. And then again, I mentioned that the replacement of the workshop, the storage, and the custodial, and that's the bottom left part of the dog leg, as I would call it. And then some support facilities, restroom facilities and whatnot are also included. And that's basically the component of what we're doing for the linked learning and remains of the site work construction.
Then, Mr. Greer, do you guys have instructors that are going to be able to go in there, or is it still a thought? Mr. Greer, are there going to be instructors that go into these classrooms, or what do we have? Are they just volunteers that are going to be helping out?
No, there'll be a class, there'll be our law academy. Teachers will be inside of that. I have to determine how many workstations. I believe we're anticipating 2 to 3 teachers for the law and the same for the health.
Now what's this picture?
This is a 3D view of the linked learning building. Basically in the background is the existing gymnasium facility. It's going with the back side of the cafeteria and the gymnasium.
Can you talk about the site work, because you haven't mentioned that yet? The
site work is essentially the replacement of the hardtop and the soccer field as well as a girls' softball.
What kind of material are you using on the soccer field?
It's synthetic.
And when did that change out?
About 18 months ago, I think, when the district standard changed from turf to, as Mr. McQuarrie was mentioning, basically a lesser maintenance synthetic field.
And the other issue that because we've gone through trying to bring this to a position where everything's according. Do you think there's going to, I mean, you can't anticipate, do you believe all the previous issues have been resolved, no more bumps? Can we get this thing out to bid? And what's the schedule going to be? Mr. Gary had on the schedule on this thing. But I want Mr. Gordon to first answer. Do you think you have what you need now? Do you feel comfortable where you are?
Correct. The last component now is getting the security systems integrated with security by design, cameras and whatnot, basically linked back into the main campus.
Mr. Gary?
Yeah, Mr. Ramsey, Juan Garahan, SGI Program Manager. We understood the urgency from our conversation yesterday, and we jumped right on making sure that we were well coordinated with the new security system, the infrastructure, with the architect.
Bring the board up to speak, because they were in the facility. Where are we with that, and what was the background?
Sure. The background is that when the school was originally designed, it was a security system, including surveillance, that was built into the school. It's there now, but over time, the district has chosen a district-wide standard that's being implemented, and we want to make sure we incorporated that in Building 10 before we built it. The strategy is to put in the infrastructure for those systems, for access control, for intrusion, and for surveillance. So the conduit constraints will go in as part of the general contract, and then we will bring in a second contractor towards the end of the project to just do the low voltage systems, make sure that that's controlled properly. So we've taken the opportunity in Building 10 to change out the system that had been designed as a balance of the school and bring in the new Gentex standard and access control and intrusion is associated with that.
Yeah, but for you, what's the lesson learned? Because you knew this back in December.
Right. And
so come on, I want to just tell them, what's the lesson learned?
It is more detailed coordination internally so that is all fed out effectively and at one time to design professionals that the district has employed.
So you think we're going to see an improvement in that area?
Absolutely.
This has to get better. I mean, not blaming anybody, but I'm just saying, we can't keep coming to this and then hearing, oh, we didn't get them this, we knew it, but we didn't. You got to have ongoing communication. So what's the bid date for this?
So we've talked, as I said, we've coordinated just today. We're looking, as we discussed yesterday, about a 4-week window. We have put dates on it because there's still some fine coordination it needs to happen the next couple of days, but that'll help us to pin some dates down. And as we discussed yesterday, probably on the street late June, early July, and then come in late August, early September.
Mr. Abdallah, what are your thoughts on this? And you overseeing this, how do you have confidence that these things are going to be handled a little more smoothly in the future?
Well, Mr. Russell, we're doing the best we can to learn every time we make a mistake and try to avoid it in the next projects. And I am very confident that we'll be out on the street sometime towards early July.
Yeah, are you excited about this project going forward? Are you looking forward to it?
I am.
Yeah, and you guys have worked really hard. I think it's excellent work, and so I'm glad that DeAnza is going to be faced. So this is the last component then, Mr. I'm glad we're here. Is this the last component?
Yes, it's the last component, basically. I think it's taken 9 components to get to this point. You know, the first component being basically some of the very initial interim housing, and then we went through some of the athletic fields initially to get those upgraded. And then we demoed the partial existing campus, and then we went through component 5, which is the main campus, and there's been all these iterations. It's essentially, again, we're working on a site that stayed active the entire time. The DeAnza High School has never closed down the entire time we replaced it, so that's the reason for all these different components and kind of, as Kevin mentioned earlier, threading a needle with all the utilities coming through the site and keeping a site up and operating while you're essentially building a new site.
Did you have any sewer problems here?
We've run into the same issues with slope in the code and basically lack of water in the system. Essentially the low flush, fixtures are basically depleting our lines of the fluids that it needs to move. That's essentially the core issue that's going on. We've had some of those at this site.
How are you resolving it?
Well, essentially we modified some of the fixtures to get more flow through them. But it just needed to be lubricated was the bottom line. It was just too dry. So we've been modifying it in that sense.
Well, this is exciting. It sounds like the one other thing I wanted to say is there's a resident who's been complaining about the PA system, and I get texts every day, and I've asked somebody to deal with it, Dr. Arden, and they just won't do it. Every day, I get it, and my phone's out.
It has been fixed as of Tuesday, Mr.
No, it has not. He emailed me this, he texted me this morning. He texted me this morning.
Then I'll follow up again with Mr. Freeze on it.
What's his name? I don't know what the name is. I gave you his number. I know he was kind of rude and all this other stuff, but we got to get this resolved. Because those are the people that we're here to serve. And he says the PA system is just really, really a problem.
I know Mr. Freeze put someone on it on Tuesday. If it's not low enough to his satisfaction, we'll go ahead and revisit it, Mr. Ramsey, and follow up on it.
I'm just saying, I'm not saying you have to please them, but you have to explain. You have to explain to them, hey, look, this is the volume it's going to be. That's all. You don't have to please them. But you met with them? Okay, well then when?
It's been almost a year ago.
All right, well then I'll tell them it's been resolved. This is the way it's going to be. Okay.
Certainly after the school opening, he doesn't even live in the distance of this up on Opry.
All right, well, I'll just tell them, I talked to the people. They might probably ask me. But okay, thanks. And so you say late August, early September? Okay. All right. Thank you. Is there any public comment on these items?
There is none.
Okay. We're on to F5.